Hey everyone, Rebecca here with the Tailored Realty team, and today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about new construction. So I'm sure that you've seen it driving in your car. You see all these new developments popping up and you're wondering, what would it take to get myself into a new construction house? Well, today I'm going to break it down for you. So new construction is not necessarily a daunting process, but there are some things that you definitely want to be aware of. So when you're looking at new construction houses, the very first thing that you want to make sure that you're aware of is choosing a reputable builder. So not all builders are created equally. The same thing with pretty much any profession that you have out there. So you want to make sure that when you're meeting with builders that you meet with more than one, and that you also are aware of exactly what their quality are and what the finishes are that are included in the purchase price. Those are very important things, and of course they're things that a licensed agent such as myself can help you out with. So you've selected your builder, you've figured out exactly what you want to do. The next thing that you want to make sure that you're aware of when you're looking at new construction houses are be aware of change orders and be aware of actually what are your different upgrades that you could be including, or the different upgrades that are available for you to purchase. So when you're looking at new construction, you're going to go to the model house, and the model house is typically going to have all of the bells and whistles. And it's really easy to get blown away by all these finishes and think, this is fantastic. And then when you actually start looking at the nuts and bolts of things and looking at the price, you realize this doesn't actually come standard, and this is actually an upgrade. So it's really important when you're looking at builders and when you're looking at the price that you're comparing apples to apples. Not all builders are going to include the exact same finishes with their different builds. In fact, most builders aren't going to. They're going to have different things. So some might include like irrigation or sod and others won't. Some might include couple different paint choices while others do not, or they might include hardwood floors while still another builder does not. So it's really important when you're looking at different builders and you're comparing what the upgrade costs are, that you're looking at a full apples to apples comparison, because the price point it's a little bit fluid. There's a base starting point, and the builder's going to say here's everything that's included with this price, but then you're going to be looking at what the upgrades are. So when you're comparing builders against each other, you need to make sure that you're aware of what are the upgrades and what are the additional costs if I want to have the house truly the way that I want to have it. So once we've gotten through all of that, the next thing I want to make sure that you're aware of is that you need to be a little bit flexible. So sometimes it seems like a deadline is a deadline is a deadline. However, that's not the case when you're actually building a house from the ground up. When you're building a house from the ground up, it's going to have a lot of different variables, and one of those is of course going to be the weather. So if the weather isn't cooperating, they are not going to be able to pour the foundation, and as a matter of fact, you don't want them to do that because you do not want your foundation to be compromised if the weather is not cooperating the way that we would like it to be. So there might be a little bit of some changes in terms of when you're actually able to move into your new house, and that's really going to be weather dependent. Along those same lines, so make sure that you're flexible with it. You want to make sure that you're staying involved with the process, and I cannot emphasize that enough. You want to make sure that you're checking in on what your build status looks like. You want to make sure that it's all coming along the way that you expect it to be coming along. Because if you're not there and you're not actually seeing, this is really your opportunity to see the house being built from the ground up, from the studs up. And you want to make sure all your studs are in place. You want to make sure that there's no major changes for how the house is getting built versus what your expectations are. For instance, like when I was building my house, we actually walked through the house one day and I said, this isn't the paint that we actually selected. And these kinds of things happen. It can happen where, different job sites get messed up, and luckily because I was there, I was able to catch it, and we were able to get the house actually painted the right color. So there you have it. Make sure that you do those different things, which are make sure you're looking into the builder's reputation, make sure you're finding a reputable builder. When you're finding reputable builders, make sure you're comparing apples to apples. A price isn't really what a price is because it depends on what are the different upgrades and finishes that the builder's including, as well as what are the additional add-ons that you want to have in there. And of course, make sure you're checking in with the process. Don't just leave it up to chance. Don't just assume that in this build timeline that everything is going to turn out just fine. Make sure you're going to the site. Make sure that you're seeing that everything is getting built according to what your expectations are. And then lastly, before you actually get the keys, make sure you're performing a final walkthrough. So if the builder said that they were going to do something, make sure that you're walking through and making sure that that actually did happen before you actually sign the paperwork and get the keys. Build process really isn't scary at all. This is definitely something that I can help you walk you through. And the process, it depends on what type of builder that you go with, but plan for at least 4 months to actually break ground and before you can actually get the keys. So I'm Rebecca from the Tailored Realty team. Make sure you reach out to me at 952-607-6017 to talk a little bit further about new construction, or maybe even my lots in Eden Prairie that are available for you to purchase. And I'll see you soon. Have a great one.